The button is twirling. I think we're live. Well, howdy, everybody. We are going out on all the channels, pinging every broadcast. We're the early crowd, the good children who are here on time, and there will be more of us coming soon. So we got a couple minutes before other folks join us. But today's Rifts Day, and that's super exciting.
Yay! Yay!
Right, like I think one of the other times we're like, let's do this at launch. Like let's hit launch in the Kickstarter and launch in the video, and this one went better than most. I have to say, like today has been okay. We got the news out early, like 8 a.m. early. The news was ready to go. That's been rare since Chris has been on that task, and so that went perfectly. Scott is amazing. He got that done all early. And I mean, I think the last time we were trying to hit send, like the very minute the Kickstarter was going, and then like the male chimp, the male monkey, whatever it's called, was not cooperating. And so that one was a little bit afterwards. This one we were hours ready beforehand. And we weren't replacing images on the Kickstarter page at the last minute, like all of them, like we did on one of the recent ones. It was like we had to just replace everything.
Sometimes stars align, the ocean calms, and everything just happens.
Which is totally not thematic for Rifts, though. So I do love, so like the very first promo image we popped up was not actually of Rifts, but I think of Lemuria. It's got this gorgeous floating island with a waterfall, and it's a rainbow and flying fish people, and it's very angelic and bucolic and wonderful. And it works.
You don't look underneath.
Right, true. But we some of the hardcore Rifts fans were like, "That's not Atlantis! How dare you?" So in Greek myth, Atlantis is this wonderful place of philosopher kings and circular islands and little bays and just all the wonderful things of classical civilization, like aqueducts and wine and cheese. And that's really not the case with Rifts Atlantis, is it, Mr. Robertson?
No, it is a place of both wonder and terror, of advanced magic and the melding of magic and bio-wizardry and stuff into some sort of crazy science. And then that's turned into a civilization. And the thing is that's really amazing about it, and I just hats off to Kevin Simbita, right, is he created something that it's hard to have things that advanced and crazy and out there and still make it feel like it all works right in a believable way, and that society does. And it's a society run by basically chthonic elder god named Splinkrynth, which is one of the Slugorth, which are a race of chthonic beings. And so he rules Atlantis, and it's like his vacation home. And then he has other planets and servitor races throughout the megaverse, right? So it's a really interesting thing when you start reading into it. Like the possible threat is amazing to everyone on Rifts Earth, and living there, mortals are treated as cattle and as subservient races. So it's pretty interesting stuff when you really dig into it.
We're not the top of the food chain anymore.
No,
I do love that.
Cool, but wouldn't want to live there.
He has a vacation home, like a god has a vacation home, and it's Atlantis. Like this is his water park.
God, that's his. In fact, there's an entire, because it's an entire continent, right? And there's an entire region that is his personal his personal refuge, where he can go and chill with his Splugorth buddies that come to visit and other godlings that come to visit. They have their own magic stone pyramids they chill at and stuff like that. There's a whole section of the western. There's a mountain range that divides the continent in half, and the western half, the northwest, is where Splinkrynth has his refuge, and then the rest of the west, most of the rest of the continent, is called the Preserves, where demons go and hunt mortals for sport and monsters for sport. So it's pretty it's a
harsh environment to be a human. You go become a godling, get your vacation city.
Well, but that's the great thing about Rifts, right? Because the heroes are so powerful and so epic, right? That this is the kind of stuff that is really going to be able to challenge them. I mean, I would say this is a higher tier or higher level island or zone. You have to compare it to like an MMORPG. You don't go there with your level 1 characters unless you're maybe want to do a campaign of escaping.
It's a higher pledge level.
Yes, Mr. Marketing. But it's a big threat. It's a big threat, and that we don't. So I did write I hope a really fun plot point campaign for everyone to enjoy while they're playing. But it is suggested for higher level, higher ranked characters to play in there. And game masters, I put in a note like we usually do, and it's really one of those things. Rifts is crazy, and the diversity of the parties and teams, Tomorrow Legion teams, or adventuring parties that can be running around there. You never know what it's going to be like, right? So if you have really combat heavy or magic heavy different types of groups, sometimes you need to or less, less so, you're going to need to massage some of those encounters to make sure that it's right for your group. But it's up there. It's tough.
So I think one testament to the fact that things went so well this morning, and the Kickstarter is already funded fantastically. So thank you guys out there.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Minutes. We're at 45,000 right now, and we're closing in on 50.
That's pretty crazy.
Yes.
I don't want to say this is just a booster, but there's like a lot of pawns in there. So like get the pawns, people. The pawns are amazing. But
I'm really excited about those.
It's like compared to some of the Rifts Kickstarters where we offered you like 7 books in a box, right? This is, it's a good sized book. It's a chunky book. There's adventures there and there's pawns, but
it's 190. This is a full 192 page book. This is the real deal. It hits it hard.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us what's in the book? Like, what's in the book, sir? What's in the book?
Well, and so I want to put this out there. I mean, everyone has been asking, I think, since, I've been on the forums, I've been part of the community. I got involved in writing when we were working on the first set of 3 world books for North America. I wrote Empires of Humanity, and then worked on the second edition of Rifts for Savage Worlds for the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. But this is something that people and we've been talking about. How do you do this for Savage Worlds? So we've got all those great things that you've been waiting for in there. We've got tattoo magic, tattoo warriors, undead slayers, right? So we've got true Atlanteans, but and then we've got all your major races from Atlantis, like the Katani, the Haroon pirates, which they're not from Atlantis. They stick to the sea, but they are close allies. They're slavers that are closely allied to the Splugorth. And that's one of the things to remember about this book is that, and to remember about Atlantis in general, just to go back to that real quick, is that their trade is Rifts Earth is a nexus of dimensional portals to the rest of the megaverse. It's uncannily so. So that is a special opportunity. And instead of trying to take over the planet or something, Lord Splinkrith just wants to exploit it. So he just sends out his slavers to capture all the diverse wildlife, the creatures, the humans, everything that gets sucked into Rifts Earth from across the megaverse, and then he sells them interdimensionally. So there's an interdimensional slave market. I mean, it's pure evil. And on top of that, they also have the dimensional market of Splin. So it's in the megaverse. It's the biggest market. And it's a way for him to draw customers to the city and further his trade. So there's a lot of really cool things that are available here. But beyond that, we get also included in this book are basically most of the stuff that you're looking for from Rifts, Palladium Rifts book, Underseas, which has the new Navy, the Nautiel, the Haroon. And yeah, he is kind of like the Rifts version of Elon Musk. That's right, PK. And then there's also the Lemurians. We have the Lemurians in this book. So that's another big faction for classic Rifts fans. And that's one of the things that I think is really great about this book is that, and one of the things that Kevin and I tried to do while we were working on it, I mean, mostly I was working on it, but going to him and talking about what kind of updates there might be, how we might make some things work, and is to make sure that we tied together all those narrative threads, because Atlantis is the power at sea in a lot of ways on Rift's Earth, and their tentacles, Lord Springcrant's tentacles, right, reach across the planet, and that's through all these other races. But there's the New Navy, which is basically the inheritors of the United States Navy, about 78 years in the future from now. So it's like 15 minutes in the future. They've got, hovercraft and laser guns are starting to come out, right? But bionics and different human augmentation before the cataclysm happens. But the New Navy, their pride and joy, their flagship is a submersible aircraft carrier. It's
That's
cool.
so freaking cool. Oh my God.
It's
the more I
awesome.
hear about Rifts, like the more excited I get, because I'm brand new to Rifts, right? Like and I've not dived in too much, but like I'm a Lovecraft fan, I'm a mythology fan, I'm a huge Navy fan. And so like you have all these things just clashing in one unit, and I'm like,
And that's the thing is, a lot of people that you see Rifts on the surface and you might think, oh, it's the mashup, right? It's the genre mashup RPG that has everything in it. But there's a lot more depth. I would say, and I've said this multiple times in interviews, every single world book or dimension book, because there's also books about other dimensions, there's enough material there for an entire role-playing game. You could play entire campaigns just set in Atlantis, or just set in our next book that we're working on is South America, the land of 1,000 islands. So, or just North America, right? North America, there's a ton of material. But that's the great thing about Rifts. But if you're a fan of mythology, if you're a fan of Cthulhu and
I'm hearing like Blade
like
Runner
that,
instances as well.
There's a little bit of Blade Runner. There's a little bit of Marvel Avengers feel, because each one of the heroes, if you're a Glitter Boy pilot, you're like War Machine out of the Marvel universe, but a wandering Ronin, a wandering knight, trying to right wrongs and protect the innocent. So it's one of those things that, so Splinkrant's tentacles figuratively reach across the world, but also in this book is, thanks PK, but also in this book is the Lord of the Deep, who is a massive entity, and he has tentacles that actually stretch across the planet. And that's creepy, because these tentacles will come out of the sea. They're massive, and they'll grab entire towns of people and drag them off into the sea to turn them into weird, human mer-animal hybrids.
No, I love it. Are you kidding me? I love mermaids.
Yeah, like there's
so
some
much,
of them are sirens.
Mermaids,
Yeah,
like not pretty mermaids, like creepy mermaids.
Yes, like creepy sirens, and so that's the thing I want to put out there, and that's why the book is entitled Atlantis and the Demon Seas, because there's all types of other craziness that we're covering. I wanted to make sure that you've had fun in North America so far with Rifts for Savage Worlds. Now you have Atlantis, but you can get anywhere else. So this is kind of the portal to our future world books. And the other thing that's really neat, and Kevin and I worked on this, is we've brought in an update in the timeline. There was an old company in the lore called Ironheart Armaments, and they made a lot of seafaring ships and weaponry and gear. And so we've updated that storyline. It's a really cool storyline. And now their successor company is called Avenger Armaments. And they're in Hughestown, down in the Texas Freelands. And that means that the Tomorrow Legion or other heroes can easily use their equipment to travel across Rift's Earth. And it gives them a connection to, hey, let us introduce you to, because they license the production of a lot of material. That's the New Navy. There's a floating city called Tritonia, full of amphibs. They're human underwater animal hybrids like frogs and fish and stuff like that. And so there's just so much. There's so much, and we've got it all in here. There's so much depth to this stuff. I don't want to say hey, this doesn't replace the old Palladium books, but this really gives you an overview, brings any players, whether they're Palladium Rifts players or Savage Rifts players, up to date, and gives you all the rules you'll need, and I hope you like it. Some really great adventure material.
Yeah, so Clint and I were talking about it just the other day about how with our books you can kind of explore the opportunities that are available. So you can always go into the Palladium books and dive a whole lot deeper. Like there are whole books about one particular thing if you want to get more into it. But there's plenty to work with just in our book because you've done an excellent job of curating the material, and you can learn about the world and about the different. As a GM who's getting into it, you're like, how much of this do I actually need to know? And it's like, well, you can start here and then grow here. You don't need to know everything that's been in Rifts. There's too much. Let me sum up.
Well,
but
right. I mean, it's been out for 40 years, right? And so that's one of the tasks that we definitely want is to make this approachable to maybe people that played Rifts years ago, or even current players who want something, an easy refresh. Or maybe they didn't get that book or this other book because there's been so many books. And then also, but we're not trying to replace anything from the past. But yeah, we hope to get everyone up to speed, but we also tell you exactly which books we're coming from. So if you want to go read more about Lemurian society because you're playing a Lemurian character, or you want to read more about the Not-Yul because you're a Not-Yul renegade that's turned good, or you're a part of the new Navy. I mean, there's so much more material out there that you can go read about. And we definitely encourage that to all the players. But yeah, Kevin and I work really hard to make sure that this is Rifts. And he's actually paid, I think it's a great compliment saying that, he's amazed at how we're able to condense the narratives down into something very bite-sized and easy to access. And also the adventures are designed to dive you into those different regions and factions and get you affiliated with them really fast.
And I'm very excited because whenever you look at something that's as big as Palladium's Rifts, right? Like Rifts has been around for a really long time. Some of my friends came out and they're like, you're doing Rifts? Like I used to play Rifts as a kid. And I'm like, I'm starting to dip my toe in and soon I will be drowning in Rifts. So like you can just go dive deep and find all the things that you're looking for because it's so expansive. Because usually people always are like, well, I want more. Give me more. There is so much of Rifts that you can just dive into and explore and examine, and that's super freaking cool.
Well, and that's one of the things that we've tried to do really well with this Kickstarter as well, is there's already so much for Rifts for Savage Worlds. So we've got add-ons that you can do through the Kickstarter, or if you want the stuff now, you can order it now on the Pinnacle website, and we have convenient links for people to use. But you can go, we already have the Tomorrow Legion Player's Guide, the Savage Foes of North America, the Game Master's Handbook, ready to go, right? You can jump in. And then we have the 3 Arcana and Mysticism, Blood and Banes, and Empires of Humanity. So with the combo of those, you've got a ton of Rifts that you can chew on. We also have a compilation, the Tomorrow Legion Field Manual, which we brought up to date. A lot of the adventure material. We added new gear and items and stuff, and races and some extra edges and rules, so that you can bring in a lot of the best stuff that we had from the previous edition of Rifts for Savage Worlds, and it's ready to use. That's like 1,000 pages of material to chew on while you're waiting for the Kickstarter to ship and the rewards to be delivered.
So speaking of creepy mermaids and tentacles that reach across the world, we have a very special guest joining the stream right now, Mr. Shane Hensley himself. How's it going, Shane?
That was quite an introduction.
So we've done something, you decided something really interesting and unique in this Kickstarter that I don't think we've done before. There's a pledge level in this Kickstarter that is universal, that is not a Savage Worlds technical Kickstarter level. Do you want to tell us the thoughts behind that and kind of how that bridges the worlds between Pagan and Palladium?
Is that for me or for Sean?
Oh, either one. I mean,
I'll start, and if Shane wants to, if you want to supplement, sir, I'll just get it started. We talked about this, and Kevin's been very complimentary about. I did an interview with him on my YouTube channel, The Robertson Rebellion, last year, and he's been very complimentary about the different work that we've done on a lot of the support products. And Palladium, it's Palladium Books, and he's really focused on putting out books. And it's harder for him. He doesn't have as much of the bandwidth for doing miniatures and a lot of other materials. And so he's been recommending our maps and our other materials to people for a while. And so with that, we've had a good relationship as the relationship between Pinnacle and Palladium has grown over the Rifts for Savage Worlds project. And so he authorized us to do pawns. And so we're coming out with plenty of materials, and we think that it's going to be really great for Palladium fans and Rifts for Savage Worlds fans. So that was our thought process. Do you want to add anything to that, Shane?
No, I just think, first off, I can't believe it's been 40 years since Rifts came out. Is that
well,
true?
It's 30 years since Rifts came out, 40 years since Palladium started.
Okay, all right, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I think, right. People have been living in that universe forever. It's one of those things that, back when I was a young freelancer working for TSR and FASA and West End Games and all these places, yeah, I mean, that book was all over the place, right? And, being able to play in Kevin's sandbox is just fantastic. Being able to create all the critters and heroes and so forth in that pawn set is a big deal, regardless of what system you play. And in fact, there's so much cool stuff in there, even if you're not playing Rifts. I mean, it's just a good set. Our Deadlands pawns that we did are just fantastic. I love them. I use them all the time. So I think that's great.
Sorry,
that's all right. That's great.
Yeah, well, we had a backer actually saying he was really excited for all the underwater creatures, right? And he's just guessing that we're going to have a lot of them. Well, we do. And we've got different encounter tables for depending on which ocean you're in the book. So we have plenty of those, and we have some really cool art for some of them. So that's one of the things that we're really happy to bring into the pawn set. It covers a lot of the North America stuff, and it covers a lot of the core stuff that you want to run anything in Atlantis.
Right, and it's a huge deal for VTT, right? That's where, I mean, once you either do the do-it-yourself ones, or once the Sigil team does the Foundry or whatever sets, those are it's huge. And it's not even, if you're not tactically inclined and you don't necessarily need those miniatures. I mean, first off, just positioning is a good thing, right? But more importantly, a lot of those things are pretty weird, and having art for them that you can put out and show your players this is what you're on into, that alone is pretty awesome as well.
I agree. And that's when I was going through the artwork press, I tried to make sure we were hitting the stuff that is you really need to have that art to maybe kind of get the picture of what you're dealing with.
Right. And I don't know if people know this, but like if you look at those pawns, okay? Sorry. If you look at those pawns, they're actually die cut around the characters. That is a huge extra expense we take on for all of our pawns, so that they're not just all one shape. And that's a really big deal for those who are playing tactically, because when you put them out on the map, you can really tell by the silhouettes what things are. Right?
And they have art on the back of them too. So
they do.
They're really high quality. I mean, it's really impressive. I think y'all have done a great team.
So these are from Deadlands. These are from the Horror at Headstone Hill box. But as you can see, there's the front. They're nice and shiny as well. You can see my ring light in there. And there's that beautiful art on the back. They're also
thick, so if
easy
you're
to pop out. So
yeah, and they're
really
thick,
nice,
so if you're using the pawn stands, you can use those as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're really thick.
I love them so much. I'm going to probably frame those because I love them so much. I'm just going to arrange them in a frame and then hang them up. So.
This is like color forms to you, isn't it?
I love art so much, especially since I finally have Savage Worlds product in my home. Like, I cried. I'm so excited. So
you've got the cool dice tray back there. Mine got taken.
Do.
My
Yours
son,
got taken?
Yeah, my oldest son saw it and he says, "Dad, I'm taking this."
We have a second one. I'll ship it to you. Or if you were coming here for Deadwood and driving with us, I would have given it to you.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm flying right in for Deadwood. And, if you are a Rifts fan and you're watching this, or a Deadlands fan, or any Savage Worlds fan, you should strongly consider the Deadwood trip, because all of those things will be running there. And I think we put out some more information today. Did that go out today, Chris?
It did. Yes.
Awesome.
So good little children like Carl get their homework done on time. Bad little children like Chris have to be written by Shane for the weekend to get the brochure out. But yes, the brochure for all of your questions on how to join us in Deadwood, how to get from the airport to the hotel, all the activities we're doing, gaming and exploration wise, is all out in today's news. There's a really cool brochure, so check that out and join us, because today is the first day where we're actually taking reservations for some of our in-town events that are limited in space. So grab those badges and sign up. So John Goff actually just emailed me and said, reserve a space. I want to go to these 3 things. So John Goff is probably going to be coming.
Yeah.
And,
for those who don't know, this is the 25th anniversary of Deadlands. So we're going to celebrate it in Deadwood, which was Chris Landauer's idea, which I think is just brilliant. And can't wait. We've got all these awesome activities planned. And besides just playing Deadlands, of course, we're going to be playing all kinds of other Savage Worlds. We've got gaming space open at several of the hotels, and we've got dinners to do together where we're providing like appetizers, and then you can order whatever you want after that for yourself, and drinks together. We're going to do a ghost tour together. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. So it's just, we're going to hang out and have fun, right? Which is the way we have always run Pinnacle. We have always considered our community just a bunch of friends that we are playing games with. And that's how we're treating this celebration as well. And you can come and play Deadlands. You can play Rifts. You can run games, which would be fantastic. And I don't know when the gaming signups will go live, but Chris can tell you all about that kind of stuff.
Before next week, so
recommend it.
Yeah, grab your badges now, because before the next newsletter, we're going to send out a private email to everybody who has a badge and give them the first crack at submitting when they want to run their games, because we know a lot of you are game masters and looking to torture some players in Deadwood. And basically, yeah, so all the signups are going to be between now and next week. And then next week, we're going to open up signups in general for everybody else. So if you want to be first in line to claim your spot at some of the limited events, and also to be the first to know when you can run your games or what games you can get into, do that now. That's this week. So get on that. Other than that, though, I mean, we're going to go into a creepy mine, and Shane discounts this because Shane gets to play his game a lot. Like, they play test everything. This, you're watching just every product line that's coming out. So Shane gets to play a lot of Savage Worlds. I don't think he appreciates that there's some of us out there that this is our opportunity to actually sit down and play some Savage Worlds with real people, and not even just coming out of COVID, but we were initially guessing, hey, it's going to be a big Rocky Mountain Savages thing. The Denver folks can kind of just drive up to Deadwood. It's only 6 hours away. You can hit up Devil's Tower or the big monuments like Sitting Horse and Mount Rushmore on the way up there, and still get there. Leave early in the morning and get there before dinner. But we have people flying in from the East Coast, from Texas, from California. We might have some internationals coming in, because we did strike some true love on the Savage Cruise last year, and Jody's repping her Savage Cruise shirt. So that's the other thing that we're doing. So guys, Deadwood is in August. Yay, Savage Cruise. So August 19th through 22nd, that's a Thursday through a Sunday. We're going to have open gaming access all 4 days. And then we're having planned gaming slots, just so if anyone was like, hey, I want to get in as much cultural stuff with the PEG crew and the Doomtown crew, because it's both are going to be celebrating. We've got some planned slots, but if you guys want to run stuff, it's all weekend gaming, access to all the great cultural things in Deadwood as well. So if you want to bring your family, and one of you wants to game, and the other folks want to just join us for the appetizers and some of the events, that is fine too. Kids under I think it said 18, but probably under 21, because some of the stuff's drinking, can come play with us for free. That's totally fine with us. We love the next generation of gamers. Bring them to your tables. They don't have to pay. And but you old folks do. And but otherwise, 19th to the 22nd. And then the cruise is kicking off in January of 2022, but we're already taking deposits and getting room choices. And there's already over 120 people already coming on the cruise. This is crazy large. We've had to go back to the ship and ask them, like, are you big enough for us? And apparently, I don't want to make, we're still considering caps, because, 120 is a lot of people, but they can accommodate up to 200 of us so far. And we're all going to get the right dining time, unlike last year. So we'll have early dining so we can get gaming in the evenings. So the cruise is going to be amazing. We're going to Belize, of all places. And so you can see Shane in some pyramids, and maybe there'll be some human sacrifice involved. Underwater cenotes. It's thematic.
It's just not a cruise without human sacrifice.
Right.
We should also mention that since we just put out the event list and so on for Deadwood today, space is much more limited in that. And that's kind of a cozier affair too. So if that's something you're interested in, you probably want to hop on it very quickly. Plus, you need to arrange plane tickets and all that stuff. And we're about at the delta where it starts getting more expensive, especially as gas prices go up. So if you're interested in it, you should hit it soon. Yeah,
do let us know you're coming. There's some great things. There is a Q&A. I mean, this is going to be a revealing Q&A. We were going to give you some secrets that aren't even Rift secrets in this Q&A, but there is an NDA Q&A that you will have to sign a waiver for. So top secret, you literally cannot. No cameras, no cell phones. But it's pretty good. It's going to be pretty awesome. Shane's got some great news and some fun there. And then there's a piece of swag that I don't think has ever really been offered, but this version of it certainly hasn't. It's only going to be offered for those that show up in Deadwood. It is a quintessential piece of Deadlands history. You will want to take this home. You will be a super fan. I personally, if you've been following my Instagram or whatever, I made a pilgrimage all the way to see Shane just to see a one version of this. A couple years back. Has it been 2 or 3 years? I mean, yeah, man, time flies. So yeah, there's some really cool stuff coming for you guys. Those events are going to be great. But let's get back to Savage Rifts because, man, the response has been amazing.
A Kickstarter called Atlantis Rising, and that number keeps rising and rising, and it feels great. I mean, the love and support, from the community is always a blessing to us, and
it is. We really appreciate it.
Yes. We don't ever try to take that for granted, guys. It's just a very humbling experience. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
So we did a little pool, and I'm not going to give you the numbers, but I think Clint is in the lead for final total now. And
I changed my guess
after it started.
So you can eliminate me, but I did it anyways.
But I think Clint is winning because Clint is wearing lucky socks today.
Clint's helping me out right now. He's pulling double duty because he's helping me out with some of the Rifts for Savage Worlds questions on the official forums while I work on this stuff. And I appreciate that, buddy, because trying to make sure that I can answer all the questions on the Kickstarter, and we've been doing such a great team effort prepping for this Kickstarter. I really appreciate everyone's help. And so we really hope to keep moving this forward. And I am planning on being at both Destination Deadwood and the Savage Cruise. So I'd love to see any fans that can make it as well. I think I have one of my buddies is going to be coming with me on the cruise. And then I think my parents, my mom and my stepdad, might be making it to Destination Deadwood. They heard about it and they were like, oh.
Yay! That will be fantastic.
I didn't expect that, but my mom's retired. My stepdad is close.
I'm not sure the first time I want to meet your parents is in a hard drinking town like Deadwood, Sean, but
I know, and they're Mormons, so but they're really open, great people. But I think it's going to be really fun.
It's going to be really
I'm really super looking forward to it.
We all finally get to meet in person finally because so much of the staff has come in during the COVID time. So I'm just excited to see everybody.
It's been so long. Yeah. It's been so long since I've seen everybody, But back to the Rifts, I see one of the questions we've got is regarding the pawn set.
Yeah, this is a good question to answer.
Yeah, this is something that I really want to talk about. So regarding the pawn set, will there be enough of Coalition grunts, for example, since you often run into many from certain goons? Or do you recommend perhaps set 2 of those boxes to be on the safe side? And I
recommend like 10 of those boxes.
Of course, Shane. So what we've done is we're doing 8 sheets, which is it's a lot. Well, actually, we're doing 12 sheets. Because we're also putting in 4 sheets of Atlantis pawns. And so one of the things that we're doing is the really common ones, like the Coalition grunts, you're going to get 5 of those. And so if you want to run now, dude, I've had games where we were fighting 20 Skelelots. It has 5 Skelelots in it, for instance, right? We were fighting 20 Skelelots, 10 Coalition grunts. They had a Mark V APC, and I think 2 robots or something, like an Enforcer or Spider Skullwalker. So, that was a big fight. We won. But But the great thing about Savage Worlds is it works. You can play through it fast, and that's one of my favorite things about the system. But what I will say about this is you should have a really great squad. When it comes to the Coalition grunts, this is the kind of quality you're going to see. Die cut, thick, hardy stuff that's going to last with art on both sides, front and back. And for the Coalition grunts, they're all the Coalition old style grunt with the old style armor, C12 laser rifles. You've got 3 of those. You've got a squad leader, and then you have a fire team member, a gunner with a plasma cannon. I think it's C27 plasma cannon. And so that's going to mean that you can easily field really the diverse. If the lore fans, it's not just Coalition troopers aren't like stormtroopers. They don't all just show up with a whole bunch of dudes with rifles. They mix in. They have people that are good at command and control. They have got guys with different weapon systems, like rocket launchers or plasma cannons, and so you'll be able to display that on the field. And we also are going to have a top down of a Mark V APC. And I've seen the initial the art's in progress for some of these, but we actually had to create new art to fill out all the stuff that we knew you'd need on a tabletop, and that I want on a tabletop, right? So that's all gonna be there. Depending on the size of encounters, you might want to buy a couple of sets. Some of the other pawns, maybe there's 3 of them, but we have tried to carefully choose what we put into the box set. Yeah, Lord Mog. Yeah, going for 2 boxes at least. I would say that if you're going to be doing this and you suspect larger battles, you might want to do a couple of boxes. But again, and the same thing with Haroon Pirates. We've got 5 of them. But to make sure that this could actually fit in a box, we actually had to. We're designing a larger box for this, right, Jody?
Yes, it's because it's Rifts. We had to go bigger. I mean,
yeah, of course, it's Mega, right? So just stack Mega on it. Mega pawn set.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. I don't think I've seen a battle that big before. So
Savage Worlds does it with flying colors.
Yeah,
it really does. Yeah,
we got to get that live AP going. So we got to get some big honking.
We got some plans. We'll talk about that. But yeah, we got some plans for that. It'll be really fun. But no, I think that this is going to be a pawn set that Palladium Rifts fans, Savage Rifts fans are going to really enjoy. And again, it's the classic Dead Boy look. This doesn't really cover most of the material in the 3 North America books, Arcana and Mysticism, Blood and Banes, Empires of Humanity. So some of that we're gonna come out back to later with another pawn set, hopefully. I don't want to get in trouble for talking about stuff that we don't have exactly planned, but we really think that these are gonna be really high quality, really great for use on a tabletop. No one's bit twisted my arm. We're trying to make the best decision for the players at the table.
Well, and that's kind of really the cool thing is, I had no decision making in any of this, but listening to you guys talk recently is about the pawn sets, and there's a really interesting conversation on Jess just did some amazing work on getting as many pawns on a sheet as possible, because the more pawns we can get on a sheet, the more we can give you in the box. That's really the limitation. And just she figured that out like a wizard. And there was a conversation on how many of each pawn should we give you in a set, because if we go for what you might see at a Rift's table, that means we get less diversity in what kind of pawns we can just give you from the backlog of Rifts. And there's more, and this is a catch you up box, Rifts box pawn set 1, but there will be more pawn sets, and there will be more going back and just pulling out the monsters and pulling out some of the heroes that have been already released from North America, because there's just so much of it, right? And so I think we struck and the price is really great. So I think we struck a balance between finding the right price where 1 box will give you adventures, but if you want to go in for let's have some wars, let's have some battles, let's get 10 of the same figure out there, it gives you the option. You don't have to wait for us to come up with the next pawn set to hope to get that 1 figure or whatever. And if we give you enough in each, then if you do multiples, you are getting sizable squads. So that's pretty awesome. And the big thing, I think the one point we wanted to make about the Palladium level is anybody can back the Palladium fan level, even if you don't have any of the Savage Worlds Rifts books. You don't need them for it. No. You can literally use that with any version of Palladium that you're running. You can if you're running old Palladium stock, everything in that level is 100% usable for you. The maps, and the pawns. It's all good.
You get the maps, the pawns, and a poster map of Atlantis, with the other side with the great cover art for the new book. So, which harkens back to the original Rifts cover. It's a Splugorth slaver with the Altaran warrior women. So yeah, it's been a real team. It's been a real team effort because it takes a lot of people need to make decisions to make sure that something like this can come to pass. Jody helps us out with a lot of the technical stuff and make sure that we can make that happen on that level. Simon and Jess do a great job. Simon's our executive producer at Pinnacle. They do a great job. Jess does a lot of the dirty work, right? Getting all these pawn sets so that we can fit as many quality pawns onto a sheet as possible. So I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy about it. I'm really excited to offer this to all Rifts fans, whether they're Palladium Rifts fans or Savage Rifts fans. I mean, it's all Rifts. And so we're super stoked about that. Jody, do we have a way for someone to be able to say, do we need to have an add-on level to say, I want an extra box of pawns?
There is that option actually in the Kickstarter. So Kickstarter has started this new thing where you can actually set up add-ons in the Kickstarter, which we've been doing like as a thing after the Kickstarter for ages, and now it's finally something you can add to your pledge. So when you click on a pledge level, I know, finally, right? Kickstarter finally got with it. Because, and honestly, to support Kickstarter's decision making on this was just a games category tradition. So if you were buying furniture, I have familiarity with that. You would not be,
game tables.
Yeah, you would not be pledging for a game table and then also like a ton of accessories usually as an add-on. So, but that aside, so this is now like a thing on all of Kickstarter platform where you could set up these add-ons in advance.
It's
so
really nice and
flexible. Yeah. And so all you have to do is you go to select the pledge level that you like. So say if you just want to be a digital only backer, that's fine. You choose the digital pledge that you want, and it'll show you the available add-ons, which at this point is just the DIY VTTs, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, because we don't do any PDFs as add-ons, because you can go straight to our website and buy it now. Why would you add it on? Just get it later. Buy it now. But for any of the physical reward levels, like the Palladium fan reward level, where you're getting those pawns and both of the maps for combat and the one for the poster map of Atlantis, you can then add on in the add-ons like another box set of pawns, or 3, because you've got 3 friends who all want their own box sets, but you want them to all ship to your house and save money on shipping.
Which is great.
It's a super smart move. Right?
Shipping is always kind of a nightmare. So if you can combine, if it's easier for you, I highly recommend it. We have that happen in customer service all the time. So
I do want to mention that if you live in the United States, add-ons cost nothing else for shipping. So you can add on as many extra box sets as you want. Your shipping price is not going to go up. So if you've got 10 friends who want all of these box sets, you can get 10 box sets. It's still going to cost you whatever the reward level shipping is. And you'll have to look at our shipping table on the Kickstarter to let you know what that range is. Mm-hmm. We charge you for shipping after the Kickstarter. International friends, it will cost you. I'm sorry. And I don't know how much. We'll figure that out afterwards.
We do the best we can.
It will be cheaper to add on.
Looking at that, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, then to have it shipped to your house and to your friend's house.
And remember your friendly local game stores too. We always say this every single time, especially for our international backers. If your friendly local game store doesn't have Savage Worlds or doesn't know how to get it, have them email us. We will get Savage Worlds in your friendly local game store. We want to be able to support those as well. So
absolutely.
Just shoot us a message.
That. I really got awesome way to do it.
Yes, and we have lots of perks for stores. So just email us because
and you can back us at the right, and you can back us to the digital level, and you can get the stuff as we're releasing it digitally, and then you can get it showing up nearby. Hey, Maddie, thanks for thanks for the message, man. That's awesome. I haven't seen anybody from UTD since the lockdown started. And then I've been a shut-in. I've gotten used to being a shut-in writing and working, but great to hear from you.
Well, Sean, you mentioned everybody behind the scenes at PEG, but you didn't talk about your team. Your team is incredible. Being able to sit in on those early Rifts meetings with you guys to see everybody so passionate and so excited and ready to go and work and create these things is freaking awesome.
It's been great one thing to mention to the fans is since I finished writing Atlantis, because I hogged that whole book myself. I did. It was pretty bad. But since I finished Atlantis, we've put together Shane's behest. We put together, and I totally agree. It was a great idea. We've put together a Rifts development team, a Savage Rifts development team, and these are some guys that do great work. Some of them you'll know, some of you may not, but if you're in the Rifts community, you'll probably know a few of them. And that is going to be very cool. They are working hard right now on the South America, the Land of a Thousand Islands. I'm super stoked about that book. This isn't about that book exactly, but I do want to mention it and let the fans know that's coming, because I always get these questions. And then there's another product that might be coming first. We'll see how the production goes, but it's something I'm really excited about. Not quite yet to announce yet, but it's Shane and I are and Kevin Simbita are very excited about it for everyone to see it. I do want to answer a question that PK Levine posted. He was mentioning about the maps, and so I want to talk about the maps a little bit, because he was saying, do we need to order an extra map so we can hang the cover on our wall and still use the map in our game? So I want to make sure that we differentiate a little bit. We have two 24 by 30 inch maps that are tactical maps. Okay. And then we have a separate Atlantis map with hexes and miles markers, so you can actually play your campaign across the map and track where your party is on the continent of Atlantis and its surrounding area.
Freaking cool.
We try. It's, if you're familiar with the kick butt, I don't know, can I say bad words? But the badassery that we had on the North America map, which everyone we're very proud of, very, very proud of. And Kevin helped us out with a lot of, I would go to them and annoy the heck out of them with details about Rift's cartography. And they'd be like, actually, I don't know where they have this, but they know where things are, that it's not clear in the books. But they're like, no, this is the exact site for this thing. I'm like, okay, great. And we did some really great updates. For instance, the Louisiana coastline, we very carefully mapped that out for players to see. Because of where New Orleans is, and the New Orleans isn't, I should say, and Baton Rouge is basically an island, right? It's a CS naval base, a major CS naval base, and it's even more important in the 109 PA timeline. See Empires of Humanity about that section, because Fort Pinnacle and the whole naval base there is gone. But for hardcore Rift fans, naval Rift fans, and there are some. But the thing I want to talk about with the maps is we have two really great maps, and they have what kind of coating would it be, Jody, on them?
So it's a sturdy cardboard, a sturdy paper, and then it's laminated so that's wet and dry marker erasable. So
right, and it's got light.
We call them combat maps, and they have a light 1-inch grid printed on them
because we use 1-inch grid combat maps.
Yeah, measurements for our games.
Right, and it goes perfectly with the pawns. So even if you're a Palladium fan, like it's all interchangeable, right? And one of them I'm super excited about. I wanted to put it out there. Something that I always want on when I'm playing games is we have a ruined downtown area that is going to be very Rifts, right? And post-apocalyptic, of course, but sometimes hard to find stuff like that. And so this is something we're really excited about offering. And then the flip side of it is a Scrabble cobbled together settlement with an outer town wall and an entry area and stuff like that. So it's something that you could use it fit any part of Rift's Earth, really, any ruined city,
or pretty much any post-apocalyptic type setting.
It could fit,
like Necessary Evil Breakout, even. So yeah.
Well, or if you're
Evil, and everybody's going to descend on this because people have been asking about Necessary Evil as well.
And I think people are going to like these maps, right? Because this map, you really could use it for a lot of stuff. And if you're just a Savage Worlds fan, it's a kick butt map. So for any post-apocalyptic type of game. But then the other map that we have that is flippable is the Atlantis Temple. from the outside, including the courtyard. And I will make a note here, maybe you can find, or not temple, I should say Atlantis, the Magic Stone Pyramid. I keep saying temple for some reason. But the reason that I bring that up is because in most fantasy games, when you have like a ruined temple or pyramid or something, it's ruined. This one isn't. It's in Atlantis. It's up to date, baby. It looks great. So it's really cool. It's got fresh paint on it, right? So that's really cool. And then when you flip it over, it's the interior of the pyramid. So we think that that's going to be really great for players, and it's going to work really well with some parts of the plot point campaign. So we really think that these two map packs are going to be a really the combat maps are going to be a really great add. And then the poster map is 11 by 17 inches. Your standard poster type paper, and the one side has the map of Atlantis. With legend and key and all that kind of stuff, and then the flip side, it has the big cover illustration on the back. So if you want it, you could order two. If you want to get, you still could order two, right? Because if you wanted to get your, have a poster of the cover art and a poster of of Atlantis itself, but it will be something that you could get a lot of mileage out of, and that way, it's all purposed for what it's supposed to be.
So we got a couple non-riffs comments that I want to throw up just because they're very nice. Casualty CDG mentions that, hey, didn't even know that Peg had a Twitch. Yeah, we do. You're on it. Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Right. And you mentioned Blood Drive. You should go check out our Blood Drive AP, which some people who are also on the screen wearing gorgeous eye makeup, me. And then
which way do I point? I forget.
Right. We're somewhere. And then Chelsea, we were both on that. And so Shane didn't disconnect. We actually kicked him out. And because
he said he had some work he needed to do, and trust me, he is super, super busy working on writing more stuff so that we can get out. And we actually want to make an announcement about one of those things. So.
Yeah, so he said he was going to say goodbye. So it wasn't him. He was going to be gentle. But it's better he's not here because this Kickstarter has gone off amazing. We're about to go over 50,000 on day one.
On the cusp.
Wow, people, this was not expected. That's just wow. Yeah. So thank you, all you Palladium fans who are buying up that amazing Palladium level. Great, thank you. Please do. Those are great assets. We've already told you how wonderful they are, but they are really cool. So this Kickstarter has gone very nicely. We all got sleep last night, except for Shane, because Shane had to keep poking me every hour to be. Do you have the brochure for Deadwood done? Do you have the brochure for Landauer? Do you have the brochure for Deadwood done? It's 3 pages of text. No.
Yourself, I didn't sleep last night. I never sleep before Kickstarter.
Yeah.
There are a million last minute things that go through your mind about, did I check that? Did I check that? Did we check that? So,
we've been reading over that so many times.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then you always find a typo and you just want to and Kickstarter, there's certain things you can change afterwards and certain things you cannot change after you hit go. And so in the sleep-deprived stupor for being tortured to have to ride Landauer, we got Shane to agree that we're going to spoil some info. And this is new for us. So I think never before have we really told you guys not only what the next Kickstarter is going to be, what the next 2 Kickstarters are going to be. And
you got 2?
We got 2. So since Landauer, who uses Photoshop to do text documents, is on the bad side of Shane and is at risk of getting fired, I'm going to have the words come out of someone else's mouth who is very good at InDesign and would never get fired because he's very fast and doesn't take. No, he's good, but he's not the one. No. We got a special cameo. If you're coming to Deadwood or the cruise, you can hang out with him too. But Carl Kiesler came to town and we got to hang out with him. So he's going to spoil and give you a little cool, we've already mentioned the tentacles because we're all kind of proud of the tentacles. They're really cool.
Carl did a great job.
But he's going to, right. Carl's going to give us some insight into what the next 2 Kickstarters are, what months they're in. I'm not going to give you the exact dates because that's up to Kickstarter too. You got to kind of negotiate on that. But the months and what products are coming to Kickstarter from Peg. So good thing Shane's not here. Don't tell Shane, but enjoy this little sticks.
Don't tell Landauer that Shane's still in the chat.
God damn it.
What is the book? Landauer here with a special guest, Carl Kieser, the main man. We have some spoilers for you guys. So it just came down from Shane that we can spoil some information about the next Kickstarter coming down the pipeline. So the one that's already been announced for the end of June is Atlantis. Rifts Atlantis, and you worked on Rifts Atlantis. So give us what does the book look like inside?
So Simon gave me a project to do to spice it up just a little bit. So we had a little bit of tentacles to it. Rifts Atlantis has Splorgoths, I think that's what they're called. They've got tentacles, so we added some of that to the inside and some slime to it. So it should be pretty, update the look just a little bit to give it a cool look.
Right, for you non-Rifts fans, Rifts Atlantis is not just the togas and philosophers and circular cities of Greek, wine and cheese. There's also like interdimensional horror with slave-owning, purple, like dimensional tentacle beasts. So Rifts, it's a good thing. So that's the end of June, and then the next Kickstarter after that, long awaited, coming in August, the Supers Companion. So what's the Supers Companion look like? What's the theme, man?
Oh wow! So Shane wanted he wanted something that really looks superhero-ish, I guess. So I did a lot of research on, at the time, Marvel movies and things like that, posters. I looked at costumes of superheroes especially from the Marvel MCU. So it's got like this bluish red feel to it. Almost looks like Spider-Man-ish, right? You would say MCU-like. So it's pretty cool looking. Yeah, I can't wait for that one too.
Okay. And then this one's a fan favorite. A year in the waiting since we announced it. Coming this October, we're going to celebrate Halloween again. Holler is coming to Kickstarter in October. The Appalachian horror setting. Tim Early, great guy. He wasn't a Denver native. I mean, he's an Appalachian native. He lived here for a bit, and he's heading back to Appalachia, guys. So what does Holler look like? What's kind of the?
Oh wow! So yeah, I met Tim here in Colorado at one of the cons, and we hit it off really well. And he wanted he had this cool setting, Holler. Appalachian horror, and we did a jumpstart for it. We did a full jumpstart for it. I don't know if that ever came out or maybe Pinnacle picked it up from that. I'm not sure. But it's got this cool, dark theme to it. I looked at a lot.
Industrial punk.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, I looked at There Will Be Blood, the Daniel Day-Lewis movie. I used that, like the look of that, and some of the fonts from that movie. I used as inspiration for that. It's got this really cool dark edges to it, and some of the character art that they have already is just amazing.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the big updates that you guys noticed. So I'm pretty sure Tim did come out with that jumpstart before he got picked up by Peg.
Yeah, did it? Okay.
And I think after doing some of the character art that you've probably already seen in some of our actual plays, they went a little different direction, a little more graphic.
Okay.
And so there's some really cool art that came through, like some redone character art that's really
nice.
Kind of evocative of that series. So that one should be hot. Nice. And if you guys want to hang out with Carl, like I get to do, you're going to be in Deadwood.
Yeah, right? I'll be in Deadwood.
Deadwood in August, with the 17th to 22nd.
Yeah.
And then the Savage Cruise 2022, leaving out of Orlando.
Yeah, I'll be running games of both. So
yeah, if you want to hang with Carl and his lovely wife Kathy, who's like just off screen, and guys, come meet us, come play a game with us, roll some dice. Coolest person in the world. And the second is Kathy's really the coolest person because she married Carl. But
this guy's cool.
Right? And if you actually want to see what Kathy looks like, we won't show you now. You have to come to Savage Cruise 2022. So with that, thanks for giving the spoilers out and all the work. And we're going to eat some dessert here at the Italian restaurant. So later, guys.
Okay, so you got to have your dessert and eat it to the next 2 months for the Savage Worlds Kickstarters. I'm not even going to repeat it because Shane might fire me. But so that's awesome, guys. You heard it here first. We're giving you the heads up because you probably noticed Pinnacle is back on not just the hype train, but the publishing train. There are so many good properties that have been years in the making that are ready or close to ready to get to you guys. And so we're giving you a heads up that we're giving you a month between them, like a little gap month on Kickstarters. And we're not even promising we're not going to launch something else smaller in those gaps. We might, but there's so much goodness coming for you guys that if we don't do it now, we know you want it. So we're going to give it to you. And hopefully this advance notice will help you guys plan your stimulus checks, paychecks, second jobs, all the good things you're doing to come get this. But these Kickstarters are really good value. And speaking of value, there's some really cool stuff that's new to this Kickstarter, new to Rifts. We don't have archetype cards in this one. What do we have?
We have Archetype Dossiers upcoming. So one of the things that is challenging, Rift's characters are superheroes in disguise. They're very crunchy. They have a lot of stuff going on. So fitting them on the normal archetype cards isn't really in the cards. But with this with the Suede edition of the archetypes, we do feel like we've got some really great characters ready for you guys. And so what we're doing is we're putting them down into a dossier that should be the same size. We're still working through some of the design stuff and finalizing a lot of stuff. But there are some mock-up images we have on the Kickstarter that people can see. But they should be foldable dossiers, and we'll have just the information you need to play. Right, straight out the box. The archetype sets that
they're in a box. There's so many of them. They're literally we have to give you a box for them.
They're in a box. So we've got the 12 from the basic archetype set 1 and 2, which is your core riffs. Archetypes like the Glitter Boy, the Combat Cyborg, the Crazy, the Juicer, the Leyline Walker, right? Et cetera, from the Tomorrow Legion Player's Guide. But we also have 6 more coming. They're going to be your iconic heroes that you're going to want to play coming out of the Atlantis and the Demon Seas book. So this is going to be really fun. We think it's going to be really cool and approachable. And it's going to be nice. It's going to be something that's very holdable and sturdy. Sturdy box. I think it's going to be a really great set for people to be able to get this stuff, pull it out, especially at conventions, or if you want to do a one-shot, or you want to just get into the game quick, and then you could customize the character from there. I mean, you can always do that with the archetypes as well, right? But we think these are going to be really fun for everybody and be a big value add because some people get, it can be complicated building a Rift character. And if you're new to the setting, like someone like Chelsea, this might be perfect. She could look through it and make a quick decision. And I've really enjoyed the archetypes in the Deadlands setting, for instance, right? Did some gaming with Jody.
I love having a base that I can jump off of.
Yeah,
so those cards are really perfect for me, and then I can kind of tailor them to what I want to play. So if I'm just playing like a one shot and I decide later and chat with my GM, I actually want to take this edge instead, so can I swap that out? Like that kind of stuff. It is really nice as like just an introduction.
Yeah, so these dossiers, we're still working on these. They're in process, but we're really excited about what it's going to mean for people at the tabletop. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. And so before we get to Jody, I want to save Jody's going to tell us about some of the new VTT cool offerings and how this Kickstarter is different for that, because Kickstarter has given us the new option. But there's one little question still about the Super Power Companion, and I'm not going to answer it, but I'm going to give you what you want, not what you needed. Not what you asked for, but what you need. So MDR asks, are you able or willing to say yet if the Super Power Companion will be a full Kickstarter, or will it be more like a booster campaign style? So one thing that is really cool about the SPC.
I'm watching you, Landon.
I know. I'm being very careful. I want to keep my job. So
can I say something about it?
If you guys, you can't. After I'll jump on the grenade, and then you can see if you want to, So
I'll dive on top of you.
That's great. Yes, I'm the human shield.
My boss is still right there. So.
I mean, I used to drive with I used to have passengers in the back. So you don't need an airbag. You have all of this between you and the steering wheel. You're fine. So if you guys were around for the Suede Kickstarter, and there was something interesting about Suede and how that came out, and some of there was a content boost in the Suede Kickstarter that was actually really unique. The Super Power Companion, this version, unlike some of the companions that you've already seen, is going to have an element like that you'll be very pleased with. It is unexpected. What Shane's done is really, really unique. And I can't say any more than that. I mean, really, but there's aspects of it that no one's expecting that are there that I think will be very, not only just popular and well received, but really good for Savage Worlds in general and where this system is going and the fan base is going. And so Shane did some cool stuff. And I just got a little glimpse of it. I'm like, wow, that's That's good stuff. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So you want to drop any more? You want to jump on the grenade? You got to.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, right? But I will say that I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I wrote the vehicle, the Savage World vehicle guide, and one of the big challenges with that was making sure that we could launch. You could, and I think, by the way, I suggest it. I think it's a really great resource, especially for Rifts players, because there's so much crazy stuff out there. It allows you to build vehicles, whether it's a ship or a boat from an ancient time, or a futuristic plane, or a hover car, or whatever. Not a points build system, but know what that toughness for the size and suggested speeds and things like that are, carrying capacities, crew counts, so you can just kind of like stick on guns and customize a little bit to fit what you need. But one of the great things about that, though, is that Shane also asked me to take a look at supers, and it was really cool, the stuff that I saw, and it's been a little while, so it's been a few revisions back. But one of the things I'll say is that there's a lot of Savage World or Rifts for Savage Worlds fans that are also excited about the Supers campaign, and they keep asking me, they want to pull superheroes into Rifts, which is an old school Rifts thing from the original conversion book, which was like the second or third book that came out. Can't remember if it was Source Book 1 hit and then the conversion book, but about the same time. And so there's a lot of people that like to play superheroes in Rifts. And so I did take a look at the gear and some of the stuff. And so I'm excited about that, for people to be able to bring Suede superheroes into Rifts. And we will definitely support that with some official guidelines and things like that for Rifts players. So I think that the Rifts fans are also going to be very excited about this book. That's the next Kickstarter. Sorry, we're hitting that wallet, right? But I think it's going to be worth it. I think it's going to be really worth it for a lot of people, and they're going to really like what they see. I was impressed.
All right,
yeah,
guys,
I don't think either of us. I think we were okay. We didn't.
Yeah,
check
you
the wire.
did good. I checked my my pulse. It shot up over 100, and then it went back down to.
Okay, good.
Nice.
Good.
See, I didn't spoil anything.
In chat. Like, there was some tense moments in the chat.
And we literally just went over 50,000 just a second. So it's on to you, Jody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Wow, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
It's only been like a couple of hours.
I know, this is fantastic, guys.
4 hours?
Y'all are amazing. Woo! So the last thing that I wanted us to talk about is virtual tabletops, because everybody wants the virtual tabletop assets. So just to clear up any confusion, yes, our in-house VTT team is developing this for Foundry at some point. There's no deadline on that. They've got a lot of projects that they're juggling, like Pathfinder. So this is in the queue, but no deadline on that. Roll20 is also one that we're going to be developing it for in-house. And then also we know that Fantasy Grounds, they already have it out there for the Tomorrow Legion Players Guide. That's already in place, because Fantasy Grounds is super fast. So they do a great job. You can definitely start playing Rifts on Fantasy Grounds now. You can also make your own assets, of course, using whatever you can find from the PDFs. But we do make our own assets, which we're starting to call the DIY VTT. And we have to wait until the book is completely done. And then we pull out all of those things, like the maps, for example, so that you can use them for VTT. And each of these pawns, that we were showing off, like this is from Deadlands again, this is not Rifts, but each of these pawn arts are going to be included as an illustration. But then also you're going to get the token so that you can use it as an actor on Foundry. So that is the DIY VTT package that lets you set it up yourself if you'd like to be a person who tinkers it and does it for yourself. So we have it as an add-on in the Kickstarter for the DIY VTT. If you don't want to put it together yourself, you want to hold out for the ready-made modules for whichever platform it is that you want to do it, play it on, then you can hold out for those. You're not paying any money right now. I just wanted to soothe your fears. It is coming. And we have heard you. So, because I saw some comments on the Kickstarter about that today. So I wanted to make sure that was something that people knew about. And yeah, so I just saw something, late to the stream. Where do we get a shirt like Sean? So that was from our very first Rifts for Savage Worlds Kickstarter. And I'm afraid we really don't have any more of those shirts left. I can check at the warehouse, but
I mean, if there was demand, could we make new ones?
On Redbubble?
We might be able to list it on our Redbubble Savage Gear site.
We definitely talk about that,
but
yeah.
we don't want to be handling that in-house anymore. It's just madness. Sorry.
Fair
We
enough.
already have like thousands of SKUs that we're wrangling at the warehouse. Chelsea knows.
I do know, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Many much
does Palladium have some shirts? I think they do, but anyways.
Yes, Palladium does sell shirts. They don't say Savage Worlds, but they definitely say
not.
Rift,
Of course
and
not,
they're
yeah.
cool. So,
They are
and
cool.
also
They are cool gears.
somebody asked about action decks. So themed decks for Rifts, you can buy those from Palladium. We had those available in our first Kickstarter, so you can buy those from Palladium's website now, and they're beautiful. So
They're gorgeous. There's a couple of decks, and they're really gorgeous. They also have cool mugs. I really love their mugs. I'm not using my Coalition States mug, but that's one of my favorite things. I got that the day I met Kevin Simbita at Gen Con. But no, the decks are beautiful.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about the decks, I'd say, is that, if you're playing Rifts for Savage Worlds, or you're new to Rifts for Savage Worlds especially, or maybe you're an old Palladium fan, those action decks are just like a collection of a lot of like Zalesnik and Keith Parkinson covers and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just beautiful art that is evocative. So if you're playing Savage Worlds, it just adds in more art that's flowing around the table, more Rifts art. It's gonna be really immersive. And one thing I did want to say about the VTT, we have secret infiltrators. We have quite a few Rifts fans on the VTT team. One of them is a trusted lieutenant, and there will be. No, I'm just. Well, the team is definitely excited about it. One of the things I will say is that Rifts for Savage Worlds, the second edition was the first Suede compatible setting. And we're very proud of that. But at the same time, I don't think that's necessarily the best thing for a VTT setup, right? As they're moving through these other products, right, or settings, like the core rules, Deadlands, Pathfinder, all really great stuff. They're learning, they're developing. There's a lot of code that's involved, and so that means that when they get to Rifts, they've already really refined what they're doing and geared up towards it, because Rifts touches all the rules. It touches the original Supers companion from Deluxe and the Deluxe sci-fi companion and the new ones that will be upcoming as well. But it touches all those rules, right? It messes with everything. So horror, right? So that's one of those things that I say is it's. In the end, I think it's a great thing to have the best product possible, and so I know the VT team, they really take it seriously, and I am looking forward to it. And if you don't want to tinker, you can wait, or you could get the DIY VTT assets now and tinker away and get rolling on the VTT of your choice. But I think that's a really good mix that we've got. We're trying to make sure that we provide as much support as possible while really big, cool things are in the works.
And with that, we've done our hour. I think a lot of us need to get sleep. But there is more. There's more today. We are not even done.
There is more.
There's so much more going on behind the scenes. I'm still answering emails and working as we're on stream.
And thank you, Chelsea, for all your support, because now, there's been a lot of other team members that I talked about, but now it's where the support team like you come into play and really help us manage all this stuff.
I'm so really excited for Rifts. It's so freaking cool, and I can't wait to play. So you better run a game tomorrow.
Yeah, we got plans. We'll talk. We'll get you in that. We'll get you in that live that live actual play or whatever.
Very excited to be a terrifying fish person.
The gorgeous floating Lemurians. Come on now.
No, they are not going to be gorgeous. She's going to be hideous. I'm going to get my prosthetic makeup out. It's going to happen.
I need to get
ugly hindrance.
I need to get you into Sea of Thieves. They have hideous mermaids in that, and it's fantastic.
They have hideous mermaids in Sea of Thieves? So it's done. Okay, I'll buy it.
So for those of you who apparently a bunch of you just noticed, we had a Twitch stream channel. So there's over 850 of you. Hopefully that number is growing. So if this is your first time hanging with the Peg crew online, if you want more Riffs content, literally just yesterday, we posted a 2-hour interview with Kevin Sabita himself. We're going to bring Kevin back as soon as possible, hopefully during this Kickstarter, for more live questions. But go check our video on demand on Twitch, and then we'll get that uploaded to YouTube here in the next day or two. And then tonight, we are grabbing Mr. Robertson again for the Savage Cast. I think we'll kind of delve into a little bit of the changes between Rift's first edition and second edition for Savage Worlds, and how has Swade changed the tone, and some other kind of cool information on, like, we've brought Rifts into Savage Worlds, but there's also a cool little bit of announcement that there's going to be some Savage Worlds going back into the Rifts with the Tomorrow Legion, which is pretty cool. So we'll talk about that. And so there's cool stuff. And then also, guys, there is a Kickstarter going on. Did we just go by 51,000? Jeez.
We're about to hit 51, I think.
Thank you so much.
That's insane. Thank you.
I'm going to post the link like one more time just because.
You guys are going to make me cry. I mean, the fans, we have the most amazing fans and supportive fans. So I just want to thank everyone. And we take this seriously. It's a lot of love and effort that goes into these products. I know I took too long writing Atlantis. I apologize. But I hope that what you find is something that will really stand the test of time in your games. And so, and we've got, take a look at the Kickstarter page. The art is scrumptious. I don't know. It's just amazing. I don't know what else to call it.
We were talking about art in so many meetings. You're like, I want this to be perfect. This is your baby.
Well, and I just love how the cover. Right? I love how the cover art is so evocative and a clap back and homage to the original Rifts Atlantis cover art. It's just great. It does a great parallel.
The original cover art. Yep.
Right. That's so iconic. And what else could you put on the cover except that, right? And the
I don't understand how you could and be true to it, but I think that the art we've got is really amazing. And Aaron Riley just a secret little thing. I kind of challenged him. I said, "Are you a fan of Keith Parkinson?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, this is one of my favorite Keith Parkinson pieces ever." And I was like, "Do you think you can do that?" I was kind of
thrown.
But he and we talk a bit, and he's a really positive guy. I love he also did the cover for Empires of Humanity, my first book, and he just nails it. And so we're really proud of the art. I'm really proud of the gymnastic Altaran warrior women murderers that are on that cover, and the Splugor slaver and all that floaty eyeballs and tentacles. It's and the Atlantis and Greek architecture in the background. It's an awesome piece.
Stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I can't wait to get that on my wall. I need it.
Yeah.
But we appreciate everyone's support. Really.
Yeah. And again, thank you, Sean, for just being, all the comments in the chat right now are just like throwing love at you. Also, all of you who are coming in, like what backer number you were. So the really funny little story from when the Kickstarter launched, the very first backer backed for $1. And for us,
get in there. He got in there. That's what he did.
It didn't refresh for like 2 or 3 minutes. So we're all sitting there going $1, $1, $1.
We were like, "What is going on?" Like people are like throwing the bills, and we're like, "What's happening?"
And we're like, "Did we screw up the launch? Did we not get the socials out?"
It was like, "Where's your fans, Sean?" I guess I should say, Shane, here they are. We're about to hit 51, I think. That was the number one backer was Fraser Burrows. And one of our good friends.
Thanks for your $1, Fraser. Thank you for your $1.
Well, I think he upped the amount after that.
Trying to get in. It's okay.
And then we also had Raidcliff from the forums. So 2 big forum members. Man, I love you guys. It warms my cold dead heart to see you backing it so fast. I know you guys were like refreshing and pledge $1 and then change your pledge, right? I know that's what happened. So we really appreciate it.
It's amazing.
And I'm just floored by the number of backers too. I mean, like the dollars are great. Don't get me wrong. We like seeing
we're at 640 already.
Yeah.
But every single one of those backers is somebody who said, "I have faith in what you're doing." And that is a phenomenal feeling. Just seeing how many people have actually said, "I'm going to give you some money for this because I want what you're doing." That's an amazing feeling. Thank you.
And it's faith because they haven't seen the book yet. That was our joke for
I've
Kevin.
seen it, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
You know, they tell you to kill your darlings, but don't kill your book.
Well, I know we're totally joking. No, it's a
fire.
work of love, and I think that people are really going to enjoy it. Carl Kiesler really nailed it. So we've got some Splugorthy tentacles, a little bit of blood smear here and there to really help amp up that horror aspect, and do Atlantis right, and show what Atlantis is. I mean, you want to make your players afraid. Throw them into Atlantis. You got your high level heroes, dump them in there.
You might be able to sell them on like the Disney Atlantis, like the Lost Empire, and it's all like, coral tracks that escalate.
I'll tell you what I'll sell people.
And drinks with umbrellas, yes.
I'll tell you what I'll sell people on. You could do with the new Navy. You could do Sequest DSV.
Yeah.
We Star Trek underwater Star Trek in riffs. I mean, I was tempted to really dive into that, on the plot point campaign, but instead I went with a slave uprising in Atlantis, which I think. But all the other factions we've talked about also get involved. So it's a lot of fun, and you could go a million different directions from there.
You just dropped
homebrew is being created right now. I'm hearing all the homebrew ideas coming through.
Sequest DSV, that was an intentional drop. You're just trying to lure me into talking about what we talked about with the porpoises and the dolphins this morning.
Stop. So, but the other thing I'll say is that the Savage Tales. So I would say in this book, it's really interesting. If you can introduce the characters to the plot point campaign how you want on Atlantis, but one of the things is if you play each of the Savage Tales that introduce you to the major factions and their enemies, then that gives the characters and the heroes, a lot of background for how the Tomorrow Legion already has some ties with those factions. But if you wanted to also just say, hey, I want to do a new Navy focus campaign, or Tritonia, or Lemuria, or something like that, then or Lord of the Deep and Reachers from the Deep. I mean, that's a whole horror aspect. You can do a whole horror campaign with that. The Savage Tale could really dive you into be an entry point that a game master could use to riff off of for an entire campaign in those those different areas as well.
So yeah, I mean, with that, so guys, check out Sean tonight on the Savage Cast. We'll be back in here in a few hours. That'll be live. So bring your questions you come up with between now and then to Savage Cast. The rest of this week on Thursday, we are doing Thirsty Thursday with the part 2 of our Deadlands actual play. Jody's in that. So we're also going to give you some Deadlands in your Rifts goodness. I think I just got a call from Kim while we were on stream. So I think we're going to probably shoot for sometime next week doing a Q&A on the Savage Cruise and Deadwood. So we'll give you probably in the next newsletter, we'll tell you what day of the week that'll be. So you can bring your questions for that. And we'll probably get Kevin back on the stream in the next week. And then I do think we're even going to try to get an actual play live for Rifts. No promises, but wow, when you guys throw $50,000,
I'm really nervous about live, but I really want to get something out there to show people some of the Atlantis stuff.
The fun thing about the live is then they're tuning in to see you screw up. So if you screw up, you're doing it right.
It's like at the conventions when we do the games at the conventions where people donate money to causes. I always like those.
Yes.
If you guys don't know, at some of the conventions we run games where the fans in the audience can donate money, kind of like a reverse Benny to a cause, but it makes us re-roll. So even if you're successful, they're like, no, I want to introduce this plot.
Oh, I love it.
Or make re-roll. It's been I've had a lot of fun doing stuff like that and seeing stuff like that at conventions with Pinnacle in the past. So I'll try and think of it that way, and that will be we could have a lot of fun with that.
You'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm just going to push for live because that means that when you guys screw up and I forget to edit it out, it's not on me, it's on you guys, and it's live. So
that's right.
And you can emphasize any of the fans that make the best jokes or quips or fun of us in the live stream.
I love the audience participation, and I know a lot of our live casts do love that audience participation as well, because they are also paying attention to the comments while playing the game. They're doing so much while they're on screen, and I think it adds another level when you have an audience as well, where you're like, I really don't want to fail this role, but I failed this role and I'm gonna leave it.
You guys sold me. You sold me on it.
No wardrobe malfunctions. No
wardrobe.
We're good.
Somebody's eye patch is just gonna fall off now.
Oh, I need an eye patch. I'll be the game master, but I'll have an eye patch on.
It works. You gotta dress up as like a cyber pirate. So
I don't know if you guys are watching this can tell, but we at Pinnacle genuinely have a lot of fun together.
we do.
These are just some really great people that I'm honored to work with every day, and y'all are just getting to see like a little bit of that fun that we get to have behind the scenes, whether it's just chatting with one another by text or we get to do a meeting. And yes, I usually keep it not fun because I'm pushing the envelope towards getting things done, but they drive it off the rails a lot, and I love that. That's just like GMing, honestly. So.
And now I kind of want to throw up this picture Shane showed us this morning of his one-eyed cyber pirate.
Let him share that whenever he's ready.
It's such a cool picture.
It is a really cool picture.
Beg him on the Facebook page, and maybe
that's right. Y'all
beg
Shane for that picture. It's awesome.
I need one
y'all
of
have
those.
to make a thing. So thank you so much for joining us today. Again,
everybody.
Super honored. Thank you for helping us spread the news about this Kickstarter. Obviously, you've already done that, but don't stop putting the message out there because you never do. Yeah, people still will not hear about it. We'll still get the emails at the end of the Kickstarter saying, I had no idea this was happening. So please let everybody know.
Let everybody know. Send them to me if they need information. You can always email info@peginc.com. Christine and I will answer any and all questions, or we'll send them to Sean. We'll send them to Jody. We'll send them to Shane. So
I'm here, guys. Anything you need. And get into the nooks and crannies of the internet. Message your old friends that used to play Rifts, right? Or wanted to play Rifts, because this is one of those things. The more viral this Kickstarter is, the easier it is for people to find it. So it can be like a compounding exponential growth.
Well, and remember, we're in game stores now. We're kind of out and about, kind of tentatively. So if your local game store has a board, please pop that notice up there. Find your group who's ready to play. Play what we've got currently, and then as soon as Rifts comes out, you'll have your.
And we have a lot of fans that have been doing that.
So
yeah.
I'm super excited to see pictures from games. I'm super excited to see y'all in your Rift gear. So
I would see people in Rift cosplay. I mean, can you imagine somebody dressed up as like a glitter boy?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I want? I've actually thought about this. One of my buddies is big in the 101st Legion, and I've thought about. I don't quite have the cash for that, but I've thought about saying, "Hey, could you help me build a custom suit of old school Dead Boy body armor so I can go to conventions as a Dead Boy?" I would love that.
I mean, there are so many tutorials on foam armor that makes it a lot more cost effective. So I will yeet some of those at you and see what sticks. I definitely do want to do some cosplay from Rifts. So at some point I will.
Me too. Well, I haven't done a lot of that yet. So
just got to find the time in between all the Kickstarters we're running.
But just don't slow your roll on the typing there, Sean, because we got to keep the material going.
No, that's the thing. It's funny when people ask, can we have this or can we have that? Well, it's like, well, okay, I could pause to do this other PDF thing that you're asking for, or I could just keep writing Atlantis, right? I mean, like, that's the joke, right? So we really focus on doing things that we can release. Like, I have a cool idea for a novel. Kevin likes the idea too, but this is definitely the focus, because we want to get these books out for you guys, and we've put together a whole team to do that. So in the future, you're going to see a lot more coming up soon.
So yeah, we're going to take a little break in a couple hours. Meet us back here, same Peg channel, twitch.tv/PegInc for more Sean, and we're going to take a nap and get some food. But thank you again so much. Over $50,000 in the first couple hours. Amazing. Keep it up. We this guides where what gets produced next. It helps fuel all this goodness. So thank you, everybody. Share the link. And tell your Palladium friends that they can get some pawns and maps, because
please do.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys in a few hours. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.